Hey guys, that Mike Gamer back here for another video. Now I did release my offensive ebook yesterday. If you guys have not seen it already, go check it out. I got a comment saying, can you do a defensive ebook? And I will. Now I'm not that great on defense. Of course I'm not that good on offense, but I'm even worse than I think I'm on offense and on defense. But I can show you the basic concepts of how to run defense and how I run my defense. So basically, how your opponent comes out is how you want to come out on defense. So they come out with 2 wide receivers or less. You're going to want to run 3-4, 4-3, I think it's 4-5, and then 4-4. And that's if they have 2 wide receivers or less. Nickel is going to be for 3 wide receivers, just 3 wide receivers. So not 4, not 5, but just 3. You're going to want to run nickel. And then big dime, quarter, and dollar is all going to be for 4 wide receivers or more. And as you can see, there's more cornerbacks out here on this quarter formation. And that's the reason why you're going to want to run this against 4 wide receivers or more. So that's just basic defense, basically how to run a defense if you are going to, just break it down basic. Now, however, my defense is, I do like to come out in 3-4, and when I do run 3-4 defense, again, this is against 2 wide receiver sets. If it's 3 or more, I have a whole nother defensive set for all that kind of stuff. But if they all coming out in 2 wide receiver sets, maybe they're trying to run the ball a lot, maybe they're trying to do different kind of plays, I like to use cross 3 fire and cover 4 Mike. And the reason why is because you can obviously see cross 3 fire is going to stop the run very efficiently. It's not going to be the best against the pass, but if they're coming out in 2 wide receiver sets, there's not many players to cover one thing, and if they do throw it, I still have some nice zones to be able to shut them down. But the beautiful thing about cross 3 fire is that it blitzes, what is that, 1, 2, 3, is that 5? Yeah, 5 people. So it's going to be able to shut down a lot of runs, and that's honestly why I love it. Now, when it comes to cover 4 Mike, the reason why I love this formation is if they do pass the ball with 2 wide receiver sets, it actually is going to limit them. And I can use that free blitzer as a user player, and I can cover a lot of the field and get user interceptions. So that's why I like this against 2 wide receiver sets only. Now let's go against 3 wide receiver sets. So if your opponent is coming out in a 3 wide receiver set, you're going to want to run nickel against them. And cover 4 and overload 3 is going to be the exact same kind of concept for, cover 3, and not cover, 2 wide receiver sets. But if they do run 3, cover 4 is going to be money, and overload 3, once again, overload 3 just gives you 1 player to user, and it gets a little bit more pressure on the quarterback with still having the same protection that it does with, against the receivers. So that's honestly what I like to run against 3 wide receiver sets. Going to be overload 3. And of course you can go down here and, look at different A-gap blitzes. I don't think A-gaps are in the game this year. Well, they're in the game, but it's just not, I don't know any A-gaps myself. But when it comes to these different blitzes, I just like to, all together, don't be predictable. Keep sending different blitz angles, different blitz types at your opponent. Because once you run the same cover 4 play every single play, your opponent is going to beat you because they're going to figure out your defense. You want to make it so your opponent never figures you out. They don't know what you're running. They don't know what you're doing. All that kind of stuff is what you're going to want to do. Now, again, against 4 wide receiver sets. Now, let's say you're in a situation where you know your opponent is not going to run the ball because, let's say they're down by 3 or 4 points and it's 20 seconds left. What you're going to want to run is quarter, and you're going to want to run the cover 2 man spy. And the reason why this is so beautiful is because you can use that zone in the middle, still have a 3-man rush, so don't get me wrong, still going to bring some pressure, and you have man-to-man on the outsides. So you can use her across the middle and have some nice man coverage, which if they do run the ball, they're going to get a lot of yards, but that's what I'm saying. It's in a situation where you know they're not going to run it. And if they do run it, they're kind of just ending the game themselves. Of course, quarter does have some nice zone coverage, which of course it has man up 3 deep, which is just a nice play if your opponent is trying to throw deep bombs. 3 double zone is going, 3 double buzz is going to be able to have a quarterback spy in the middle with the night zones and stopping them from throwing deep bombs. So they like to throw streak routes, cover three buzz or three double buzz is going to stop that with the ability to stop a mobile quarterback. So that's why I do like that play. When it comes to dollar, once again, it's going to stop those full wide receiver sets, but cross three fire press is going to be able to still, supply against the run if your opponent does want to run the ball and sees you in this like outrageous quarter or dollar or big dime defense and goes, oh, let me run the ball against you, because obviously you can't stop it. That's why cross three fire press, if your opponent keeps running the ball against your coverage but comes out in full wide receiver sets, that's how you're going to stop it, is by running a cross three fire press. Because now they're not going to know, hey, is he running that blitz or is he just coming out in that coverage? So when it comes to big dime, I was actually incorrect. This is actually, this is full wide receiver sets. But this kind of gives you more of a cover, 3-4 type of defense, 3-4 type of angles and how your defense looks, kind of like a 3-4, so your opponent doesn't know you're coming out in like a full wide receiver set defense. This actually probably would be, I think this would be more of a nickel type of defense, actually, if more than I think about it, more than a quarter or a dollar defense, or a dime defense. But I don't know, I kind of feel like this is more, would be good against like three wide receiver sets. Although, I'm kind of going back and forth with myself on this one, guys, because I feel like this would stop full wide receiver sets, but I also feel like this might be more efficient against a three wide receiver set. But, you can test them out and try them out and see which ones work against which coverages. I know this is 100% on three wide receiver sets. You always want nickel. Two wide receiver sets, 3-4. And then quarter, big dime, and all this stuff, you're going to want to run it against four wide receivers and more than that. So 4, 5, 6, 1 quarter, $1, and big dime is kind of going to be a mixture of them too. So as you can see, big dime does have 1, 4, 6, which is just going to put more guys out there pretty much, and cross three fire, same kind of concept. So all together, again, I'm not the best on defense, so that's why I don't have like this whole entire elaborate scheme like I did on offense. I kind of just come out, whatever you call, I'm going to call a defense that's going to match that. And I try to use my players to get interceptions. I'm not the best at Madden. I never claimed to be the best at Madden. So that's the reason why I'm not the best on defense. Most of the times, if you see my gameplays from last year and this year, you'll see that I actually beat my opponents by getting 2 user pick sixes. And the reason why is because if you throw me 2 user pick sixes and I can play like I do on offense as I showed you, I can beat you every single time. The people that can beat me are the people who do not test my user, who literally refuses to throw at my user. And that's the reason why. I'm not the best on defense. I don't think anyone's like the complete lab on defense. Of course, there's people who send different blitzes and, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to try to learn different blitz types. I don't want to go nanos or A-gaps or that kind of stuff. I just want to learn basic concepts of defense, blitz type. Because obviously I'm not the best on defense. I never claimed to be. But this is your basic rundown on how to run a defense effectively. And effectively, I mean what to come out in based on what your opponent comes out in. Key tip, and one thing I want you guys to remember no matter what, do not call your play until your opponent calls their play. That's the one thing you always have to remember. Never call your play until your opponent calls their play. And you can see their play in the left-hand side of your screen. You can see what they're coming out in. Never call your play until you see that. Once you see that, then you choose your 3-4 against 2 wide receiver sets, your nickel against 3 wide receiver sets, or going to be, quarter, quarter, dime, and dollar against your 4 wide receiver sets, or 5 or 6 wide receiver sets. So guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. Remember, if you have not done so already, go back and check out my video 2 days ago, my offensive playbook video where I talked about how to run offense. And then 2 days ago where I talked about giving away Malcolm Butler. That's for Xbox One only. And if you would like to join the GOAT list, you can join the GOAT list and be entered in to win BCA Eric Berry.